Hello and welcome to Sunday night. We're back again. It's come around really quick again. Tonight's talk will be 10 minutes shorter than normal for obvious reasons. There's a minute silence tonight. So I'll be finishing up at 10 to 8 tonight. So, but yeah, it's been a weird week this week. We've been doing builds and that, and in France it's been non-stop in terms of part works this month, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down neither with the amount of test builds that are coming out in the minute, because there's a lot of test builds coming out at the minute over in France. So, and we'll talk about them tonight as well. Let's take a look. Hi Mark, how's it going? I hope you're feeling okay after your fall, and I hope you're on the mend. And Baz, how's it going? So yeah, like I said, it's been absolutely non-stop this month from the word go on test builds from France. And it's a good indication of what will come out, maybe over here. But you also got to realise that a lot of the builds that come out in France never actually make it over here. But obviously these are just tests. So, and I'm expecting quite a few tests next month, maybe. We've had quite a few test builds already in the UK this month, and some are less sort of the build part works. So yeah. Hiya, I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing okay as well, and Chris, obviously. But yeah, there's been a bus build, the Land Rover. There's been the Pillman truck. I'm trying to think now. Oh yeah, Apollo 11 as well. All of these test builds. There's even more than that. They're the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's a good indication of some that might come out over here. A lot of the vehicle builds never tend to get any further than France. Another one that's came out as well, which is a re-release from Hachette, and that is the Subaru Impreza, the Rally Subaru Impreza. That's obviously been out before, but they've put it on a test build re-release. So that's another one that's come out as well. And like I said, it's just been absolutely non-stop in terms of tests in France. Like I said, there's been a few test builds here already, but not the amount that they get in France. And a lot of these tests, if they go live, will never see the light of day over here. Especially like, there's the new bus build that's out there that they're testing at the minute, and some of the car builds. I mean, we still haven't got the Gran Torino, the Starsky and Hutch. Is it a Gran Torino? I'm sure it is, isn't it? Someone will know in the issue. Someone will know in the issue. Someone will know in the comments. So yeah, but there's so much going on at the minute over there. Jeffrey, hi Kev, hi mate. I ordered 50 issues of Robocop from £100 customer and just finished issue 45. The gun is plastic. Yeah, they changed the gun. So originally it was die cast and it was a single piece, and now they changed it to plastic, and you have to build it. My advice to you as well is to order under 6 or 7 issues at a time. Any more than that, you get a customs charge on it. So I tend to keep my orders under £100. Otherwise, you get whacked with a custom charge. So if you're ordering anything from France, try and keep it under 100. And then you could have broke that order up. Maybe you can do separate orders, still get the same amount of issues, but it wouldn't cost you in customs. So that's my little trick on that. So when I do my orders from France, I do them little and often, and it helps on the customs over there. But yeah, that was a bit of a downer. Lots of people were a bit down on that as well, that they wanted the gun to be die cast, but it's not, it's plastic, and we have to build it as well, which we didn't have to before. It's worth noting as well that the gun was in the test build, and I think it was issue 4 on the test build. So yeah, it is what it is. Hi, Ken. Thank you very much. Good idea. Thanks. Yeah. Always try and keep your. I always say I know some people. I know 2 people actually that order an issue every time an issue comes out. It costs more on postage if you do that. So it's a sort of a judging act. The more it's weird. The more you order, the less postage and the less it will cost you because of the exchange rate. But if you order, I think it's over £100, you tend to get hit with the customs on it. So what I tend to do is keep that low, so I don't get hit with it. So it's worth keeping an idea of sort of what to do on that, because it comes down. I think it comes down on how the customs doesn't really come down on the size of the packet. It actually it's more to do with how much you spend. But like I said, I've always done it. I've always done. I think the maximum issues I've ever bought was 7, and I've never been hit with a customs on it. So, hi Ian, nice to have you here. How's everything going? And Mark, yeah. So, like I said, there's been so much going on at the minute. In terms of front, I did like the look at the truck build. In fact, they've got 2 truck part works out. One of them's an Iveco one, which is a little bit more modern, and then you got the Pillman one, which is sort of 80s style. It looks really good. I was talking to Jason at Fusion Designs, and he was saying that would be really cool to go with the Knight Rider and as truck from the Knight Rider. But I was actually saying it would be cool to do with Optimus Prime if you could change the colours on it. So that would be quite cool as well. But they're all test builds, and in terms of vehicles and stuff, we don't, like I said, we don't tend to get a lot of the vehicles that they do over here. So yeah, we do get a lot of the unique builds, you know, the tanks, the figure builds and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm hoping that the space station or the Apollo 11 get picked up, because they're really sort of unique. The last one that came out was the lander, and it never got past the test build stage. Though it has been tested a few times, it's never really gotten past it. Now, a year or so ago, they did the ISS space station. That looked really cool, but it's all sort of died off now. And now they've just brought out this Apollo 11 Saturn V rocket, which looks really, really good, actually. You actually build, it actually comes apart in its stages, and each section has the sort of modules in as well, which is really cool. So the top part has the lander module, and then you've got the rocket module inside it, and it comes out in 3 sections. So it looks really cool, but you know, it can all change when it comes out for a main release. So fast delivery from France, Iron Man. Yeah. I think 12 days is probably the longest I've ever had to wait for anything. Normally within 5 to 7 days, I've been fairly good from getting from there. But yeah, they're really quick. Really, really quick over there. Howdy from... Oh, hiya. That was with Igmos. What was with the Eaglemoss Enterprise D post? What post was that? I can't remember what posts have been on now. It's all sort of died down now. And I was speaking to someone about this. I think I touched on it last week as well. Sort of a lot of people have got their hopes up that PCT are going to be releasing the Eaglemoss stuff. I don't really know what's going on with that. Yeah, PCT have got the database. That's what they've bought, and obviously all the parts that all the companies make, it reverts back to them. That is sort of a standard thing that happens. Whether or not we're going to get, our models from them is another matter. It all comes down to the licensing, and I think CBS, Paramount have some specific sort of some specific requestments in order for a part work to do the Enterprise D build, if you know what I mean. And I think one of them is good worldwide distribution, which Eagle Moss did have, but not a lot of the other companies have. IXO, they can deliver worldwide, but it's not a very good service at the moment. So I don't know whether CBS would allow that to happen. Fan Home Do and DeAgostini have, so there's that. Hachette does, they do get their builds worldwide, but they use Agora to do so. So there could be something there. But IXO, like I say, they do deliver worldwide, but it's not as clear cut, if you know what I mean. Not like it was with Eagle Moss. So even though they've got your data effectively, which is your name and address and your email addresses and stuff, there's no guarantee that they'll have the license to send you the Enterprise or any Eagle Moss stuff. Really, they make the parts, so whatever happens out of this, they'll always win, because they'll always have to sell the stuff. So yeah, what video are you referring to? What video is it? Because I've done a few videos on the Enterprise build. But yeah, there's a lot up in the air at the moment. Like I said, we would hear something before the end. We have heard something just basically telling us that IXO own the Eagle Moss database. But I don't think we'll hear anything in terms of us getting parts until next year. Because it's still going through. I do believe Eagle Moss is still down as in administration. So yeah, so there's a lot going on. But the licensing can take a while, and that's the most important thing. That allows them to sell stuff. So it was the fully assembled model. Okay. So I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. So the clip that I've put on my YouTube channel of the full build is of the full build at the PCT. So this was the full build being connected up at PCT and being shown. It was sent to Eagle Moss. It was then leaked, and I was able to acquire that and send it out to people. So yeah. Good evening all. Oh, hi Jay, how's it going? Dropping off a friend in Blackpool. Oh, it's been a long day. Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, thank you very much, Ian. Thank you. Thanks for all the information you give. That's all right, Ian. I do it because I think we need this information. A lot of these companies aren't transparent, and I think sometimes we need to, because otherwise we're bashing our heads off the walls here, and so we need that sort of stuff. But thank you so much. I'm really, really touched by that. Thank you, Ian. That makes sense now. Yeah, so that video was a video that, because there was concerns over how it was going to be connected, the saucer section. Obviously, everyone said it was never going to work, but that came from the official factory at PCT, who had the built version, die cast, everything like that, showing how the saucer was easy enough to click on, and the nacelles as well. And that was sent to them, and then someone there leaked it to someone else, and then I acquired it. Let's say I'm not. I can't say how, but I acquired it. Are you teasing me with your latest offer? Yeah, I see. So if there's this fantastic offer over at Parkwork Upgrades. Get yourself over there for the Rossio bike. I just had that email as well, Mark. Missed the info, Kev. What info are you looking for, John? It is a great deal. In fact, there's still time to get over and make an order and be in a chance to win that fantastic resin 3D printer. I mean, what a prize. Get over to Parkwork Upgrades, make an order, and then be in with a chance. What information, John, did you miss? But we were talking about Eagle Moss, so there's no guarantee. Just because PCT own the database, I mean, because I was discussing this with a friend who sort of invested with all of this as well, and we were just saying that there was. What about all the other companies? Now there's 4 companies that make all the part works. PCT made some, but not all the part works for Eagle Moss. So what happens if another company comes along and wants to start up, say, the Willys Jeep again? I don't believe PCT do that one. But say Hachette come along and want to do that, how do they contact customers? Because IXO have the customer database. I doubt it very much that that PCT will allow any company to have access to that, or and then they'll probably want to have some sort of fee if you want access to it. I've got a funny feeling these companies would just go no. So yes, definitely. Kev, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, get yourself over to Parkwork Upgrades. Get in with a chance for that 3D printer. It's an amazing offer, amazing competition, I should say. Hope the test build of the Peterbilt, the truck. I would love that. Yeah, I was saying as well, Jay. Actually, a lot of the car builds that you get over in France never make it anywhere further. Like I said, we're still waiting for the Starsky and Hutch to come out, and I think in France they're up to issue 60 or 70. Is that the Gran Torino? I can't remember now. Someone must point it out. You're spending the money before you've even got it. Ecto, yeah. So I was just saying that even though PCT own the customer database, there's no guarantee whatsoever that they will release any of the models that they had with Eagle Moss. It all comes down to distribution, especially with the enterprise. So there are some stipulations, I would say, in order for a company to come along and take on that license. And I think one of them has got to be worldwide distribution, but a smooth worldwide distribution. IXO do, or PCT, they do have, they can deliver worldwide, but it's not straight cut, if you know what I mean. And it's the same with Ecto One. It's all well and good for this company to say we've got the assets for it. Well, of course they have, because they build it, and all the other companies receive all of their assets back as well. That's just what happens when it collapses. But there's 100% no guarantee that that they'll be the company that delivered this model. Just because they got the customer database means nothing. It all comes down to licensing. It's that big word. And if another company comes along and offers more money, then that's it. Then the license goes to them. PCT will always win out of this, IXO, because they already manufacture the parts, so that they probably wouldn't care who took it on, because they'll make money from it anyway. It's beneficial if they do it, because they'll be saving quite a bit of money. They've lost a lot of money with Eagle Moss going under as well. But it all comes down to licensing. And then it's how do they access and then it comes down to, say, if Agora, for instance, buy the license for Ecto One, how do they then access the customer database for you guys to start from where you left off. They can't, or they would. You know, it's probably a good will gesture, and maybe they could say that. Maybe they might ask for a fee to have access to it. Yeah, it's all a bit messy. It really is. Hello, Mark. I use some of your loyalty points to get extra off. Oh yes. Hi, Vogus. How's it going? Nice to have you here. That's nice. Look at that. Ian's so good. Got a copy of Cyberpunk. Oh, nice. It'll take a while to download, a bit like Red Dead. It's about 4 or 5 hour download. It was for me anyway. Do you think we might be able to finish the DeLorean as that's another thing. Now, when Ben Robinson, he's the managing director or the marketing director or the marketing top guy at Eagle Moss for Hero Collectors, he said the priority for him and for the companies was Ecto-1 and the Enterprise D. Everything else, I don't know. You also got to think that DeLorean the DeLorean was sort of like a re-release, if you know what I mean. Because I done the original release, and then a lot of people done it when it was re-released, if you know what I mean. And that's where a lot of people are stuck. Any company could come along and take that on, but I've not got a clue on that whatsoever. Ben Robinson did say there were a few builds that might never come back, and that was the one that was and was not, and that was the 66 Batmobile. So he said that's the license to get that was really hard, and he said, to be fair, the assets there, the company that produces the parts has got all the parts. They can make them like, click of a finger. But it's the license, and Eagle Moss had lots of problems getting license for that. And he said it would be very, very, very unlikely that would ever get picked up. And then there was, and then he did say things like the Willys Jeep, the Titanic, the Nissan, all those sort of, the Nissan 350, the GT one, all those sort of builds are at the very bottom of a sort of a priority list. And at the top was the Enterprise D and XO1. And I think the Star Trek models, and yeah, it was a sort of a list, a priority list. And I think it was Enterprise D, Ecto-1, the Star Trek models, and the Doctor Who figurines. Everything else is at the bottom of that list at some point. But because of the way it's all messed up at the minute, there's no guarantee. And like I've been saying as well, there's no guarantee that PCT will take on that build. And then say if Hachette or Fanhome or someone comes along and says, we'll do the DeLorean, how will they have access to the customer database that IXO now have? The person I was speaking to was under the belief that they only ever bought that so they could increase their customer base, basically, and push all their other models to customers that they wouldn't normally have had. So yeah, I've got a disc copy. It comes with 2 discs. There's a data disc and the actual game disc as well. So double check on that, Jay. But Cyberpunk is 2 discs. So you get like a data disc and then you get the game disc. The last game I had with that was Grand Theft Auto 5, and it came with a data disc and a play disc, and now it just comes with a normal play disc. It doesn't have the data disc anymore. But when I got my Cyberpunk, it came with 2 discs, the data disc and the play disc. Weird. But yeah, there's no guarantee that they will come along. But like I said, there's a lot of, I would like one of those Apollo Apollo 11, that looks really cool. Saturn 5, that would look quite cool. It's quite small based, so you could like stand it somewhere, which is cool. And like I said, it comes, it's quite big. I mean, the top section of it, just the spire or the spear at the top of it is about that big. And then you sort of build it in modulation, so it's sort of, it can be taken apart, and then those different parts have all the module stuff inside it, which is really cool. I thought that was really cool. Yes, 2 discs. But yeah, like I said, we don't really know what's happening with. We're still in the dark when it comes to Eaglemoss, because no one works there, and it's still up as being in administration, which means a lot of stuff still can't be done in terms of licensing and everything else. So yeah. And it takes a while for licensing to come through. So like I said, it's a good 5 months out still, I reckon. I might be proven wrong, but I still think it's about 5 months out before we know anything. But yeah, there are some builds that will probably never see light of day again. The DeLorean was a sort of a good build. You know, there were some issues with it, but in terms of sales, I think it was very good. I mean, Ben Robinson did say that all the part works made money, so there was no money lost. So effectively, a company could come along and take it on. But whether or not they'll be able to, you'll be able to start with, and this is what we were saying last week as well. The only company that allows you to start from anywhere in your collection is Hachette. So it looks like a good option for them to take it on. You know, there's the 3 ways of getting the build by a collection, by a subscription, newsagents, and the web shop. But not only that as well, that you can start your build from wherever. So if I picked up issues 1 to 20 of the Disney Dollhouse, say, I could ring up Hachette and start my collection from issue 21. You can't do that with the Agostini, you can't do that with Agora, and you can't do that with Fanhome. Yeah. So that's the only problem I have with things like that. If Fanhome comes along, or the Agostini, or someone comes along and takes on the DeLorean or the Enterprise build, it's great. But how can they start it from halfway through or to near the end? Because the reason that I know that Agora can't do that and Fanhome can't do that is because the system that they've got doesn't allow them to do that. The system doesn't allow them to skip issues, and it doesn't allow them to sort of accelerate you neither. It's just the computer system that they have, which is weird. But yeah. And there's no guarantee that the price that you were paying with Eaglemoss is going to be the price that you're going to pay when this all starts back up again. There is a sort of inkling that there's going to be an increase in price from what we were paying through Eaglemoss. Yeah. Evening Burgers, John says. DeLorean was a lovely build, and the Route Master. Yeah, both of them I done the OG on them, so original. I done the original on both of them. So Eaglemoss I done the original DeLorean with when that first come out, and the Route Master through Hachette as well. Both really good builds. I ain't got. There were gripes, and I've got that with every build. But I'm really happy with the end result on both of them, and I tend to be, you know, over the blood, sweat, and tears and everything else. They're yeah. So yeah, Agora let me start from Terminator Pack 3. Oh, okay. I know some people said that they couldn't do that, and you had to start from the beginning again. Maybe they've changed it. I don't know. But I mean, there's my Terminator, just there. But maybe they've changed it. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. But there's a lot of emphasis at the moment that PCT will get it. But with the licensing, you can do it in Europe, and then there's a US license which is totally different. So a lot of people at the moment are sort of, oh, you know, PCT might get the European license, but then who gets the American license, and will it be the same? Will it be it? You know, it's just too much up in the air at the minute to even like contemplate it. But it is interesting to sort of think about it, to think about what's going on, and just sort of yeah. I don't really know. I mean, I still don't think we're going to hear anything until the new year about anything really in terms of Eaglemoss. I might be wrong, but with what's been said and going on at the minute, I don't expect anything to be said or any parts to be gotten by anyone until next year. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, there's some builds that have come out in France. The Iveco truck, I don't know if we'll ever get that one. The bus that's come out, I don't think we'll ever get that one. There's the Land Rover Trophy. Once again, I don't know if we'll ever get that one. And then you've got the Pullman truck as well, or the Pillman. Once again, we could get that. We might not. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of builds that have come out in France that we probably won't get. One of them, I think, they've got the Citroen C4 rally car that's just come out. I don't think we'll get that. They've just done a test run of the Subaru Impreza. Once again, I'm not too sure. I don't think we will. But it all depends. You know, you've got Agora. They like doing a lot of these sort of builds, so there's that option. But we'll see. We'll see if we get any test builds like that coming up. We had the Lancaster one. And I think issue 2's out, isn't it? This week or next week? Is it this Wednesday or next Wednesday? Issue 2. So that's still being tested at the moment. But like I said, we've had a few tests already. But they're not build part works. They're sort of collection part works. So I think that's why they've gone a bit under the radar in terms of what we're getting. Looks like our Tier 100 needs a few mods, Kev. It's got the power mod. It's already got the power mod. I just haven't turned it on today. The fingers are all right. It's just not on. I'll tell you what it is. If you can come up with a remote control, a rechargeable remote control, perfect. Because hang on a second, let me get the controller. Because the controller, I'll tell you what, it goes through batteries really quickly as well. And no, it's working at the moment. Hang on a sec. Let me. Yeah, I've lit it up. Yeah. The batteries in this really drain really quickly. Obviously, you can turn it on and off, but even with it off, it drains. So if there's a way of making like a rechargeable one or something, I'm all for that. I'd like an Ed 203 to go with Robocop. That would be a really nice one to do, but it needs to be, if it was the same scale as Robocop, I think it would be huge. I'd love one that size, but I think it would be a little bit too big. But definitely I would do that. But last year they did put out an email in France about about Marvel and about builds coming out. There were some interesting ones on that. One of them was the helicarrier. Now I thought that would have been really cool to make, the helicarrier. One of them was the Hulkbuster. and one of them was the Mark 28 Iron Man suit, and then you had the Stark Industries jet as well, the Quinjet. They're all sort of on an email, so we may get a test run on maybe one of them, or next year we'll have to see. But I would love an Ed 209. It would go really well with Robo, definitely. No, I mean that was tested, Dave. I'll tell you when that was tested. Before the pandemic. There was over in the Nuremberg Toy Fair. So if you ever want to know what's coming out in the world of Partworks, it's worth following the Nuremberg Toy Fair. It's the biggest toy fair in the world, and if you can follow it, I think it runs. I think it's the end of this year or the beginning of the year it starts. But if you follow it, IXO are there, and they obviously they put all their Partworks there, and the Morris Minor was on there in 2019. With the wooden back box, the wooden style back box. It was definitely on display. I got pictures of it on my computer, so I know it's come out, and I've posted them all on my Facebook page. And that was it. We've never heard anything else. The same with the Mini Cooper as well. So the 60s Mini Cooper was another one that they had on display as a Partwork, and we haven't got it. So I don't know. Like I said, there are so many builds that come out. It's so many builds that come out that it's hard to sort of track in what's come out and what's and stuff like that. Like the Apollo Lander diorama set that was due. I think Wayne got hold of that as a test build, but that's been tested a few times, never seen again. The ATAT. Now they tested the ATAT, didn't they? Early 2020, I think it was. They've done 2 issues. That has never been seen the day again. The next Star Wars build, I was told, was the Star Destroyer, which was tested about 3 years ago now. And once again, it hasn't really moved on from that, and there's been no word if it's coming out. But the word from what I've been hearing is the Star Destroyer is the next Star Wars Partwork to come out. But you know, there's so many that come out, but yeah, that was one of them, Dave. That was definitely one of them, and that was yeah, it was the Morris Minor with the wooden back thing. I can't remember what it is. It's a special one, isn't it? It's like a Clubman or something like that, like the Mini Cooper Clubman, but a Morris Minor. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and you got to think if they've made it, then there's intention there. But no, never. Scooby is a full run in Romania or somewhere. I think it might be in Romania, you might be right, but it's being tested in France. It's a re-release, Fergus. It's been out before by Hachette, funny enough. So if it does come out, it'd be a re-release. So it looks like they're sort of going back over their sort of back category. So we might get the Delta, Lancia Delta, the Rally Lancia Delta that was a couple of years ago as well. Nice. Evening, Peter. How's it going? We could get the news this year or Q1, but parts are unlikely until later next year. Yeah, I'm down with that. Like I said, I don't think we'll get any parts for any Eagle Moss stuff until next year. There's so much still to unravel with Eagle Moss. It's a headache. It might be whole or none, in other words, or only all the parts. Yeah, there could be special stipulations with it. What I was discussing with this person was there's certain things that CBS and Paramount need, especially now what happened with Eagle Moss, to sort of secure it. And one of them was actually that they have to be able to supply all the parts all at once, all individually, or as a main build or whatever. But I think the most pressing matter is probably it needs worldwide distribution, good worldwide distribution. IXO don't have, they do have distribution worldwide, but it's not good. In fact, there's very few companies that offer that service. Eagle Moss did, and then they started reducing a lot of their worldwide supply. But we think that it's got to have a good distribution in Europe and the US for them to sort of go, okay, oh, and you've got to do this, 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 and this. So there's a few. We think there's a few stipulations that are going to be involved, and it's where probably PCT and IXO might not gel, if you know what I mean. It'll be interesting to see. Hi Dee, how's it going? Just going through. Everyone's saying hi to everyone. How close to the finish, Dee? Harris? I haven't got a courier sorted. As soon as ready. Oh right, okay. I know what that's about. So I'm just I fly home in the morning, couple of bits of clean. Cool. Yeah, it was loads of people just talking in the chat. I'm off to Portugal next week. Oh, nice, for a few days. It's all right, isn't it? Down to, yeah, you got to have a breakaway in. Jeez, yeah, you have to. Prague, sorry, not Portugal. I saw the P and I was like, oh, and then I just blurted it out. Yeah. I got pack one of the Ferrari. Nice. Nice. Good. So yeah, it's good actually. I mean, there was a big hit as well, actually, with a lot of people. Yeah, I think you should apply for a license there, Ian. You wouldn't have to make the parts. PCT does that. You would have to just be the middleman, and effectively, that's what Eagle Moss was really. They took on the license, but they didn't produce any parts or anything. That was done by PCT, so they were just a sort of middle person. maybe we should put a word in. But yeah, you know, anything can happen. But yeah, there's a lot to take in, I think, in terms of stuff, and I do believe that a lot of the builds that they had won't ever start back up again. The Titanic, Eleanor might, it might not. I know that there is. I know when it first came out, a lot of people were very surprised because the person who owns the rights or the license is really strict on that license for Eleanor. So I know a lot of people were very shocked when Eagle was able to do it. But it might start up again. Willie's Jeep, I don't know. That was a re-release, I do believe, as well. So you never know. You never know. You never know. These sort of builds could probably die off and then come back for 3 or 4 years later to redo. So, you know, you could be sitting on, say, the Nissan. Say the Nissan GT is another re-release, but they re-released it again, didn't they? But like I said, it could all die down for the next 3 years, and then Agora could come along and whack. There we go. We could start building it again. But yeah, you know, I had spoken to the Mrs. Partwork about things. Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Anything's possible. Still waiting for the Tiger tank. Yeah, the King Tiger tank. Yeah, that was previewed last year. So it may come out this year. Who knows? We are in those. We're in that realm, aren't we? Of the sort of unknown in terms of partworks and builds and stuff, especially Eagle Moss stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm still really surprised that we haven't had the Hogwarts Express, even though there was in Hachette there was a massive desire for it, and it's one of those ones that have started. So, you know, where they said that they were going to do it, then they weren't, then they were going to do it, and then they weren't. I think the latest we heard was back in June or before then. I think it was about June when they said it was going to be in September. We're nearly at the end of September now. Still hasn't come out. It's not on the September list for new part works, so it isn't coming out yet. But I'm really surprised. Once again, I think that's down to licensing. It's that bloody that's that bloody word again, isn't it? Oh, I'll tell you what, it does play havoc. It really does. Yeah, that little word, license. It's a powerful tool. But yeah, I think that they've had problems with licensing. That's probably the only reason why we haven't had the Hogwarts Express, because I think that did better numbers than the Eddie Stobart. So the IXO Alpine, yeah, do you know what? That's another re-release, by the way, Burgess. So that was one that they built. I think it was D'Agostini that did it originally. But obviously got it from PCT, and now they've decided, hey, we can do this. We can get on the game here. But IXO, I mean, I didn't realise, but they build the part works, but I mean, their actual sales side of stuff, the amount of die-cast vehicles that they sell is massive. So their IXO are normally for like the model cars and trucks and buses and all that sort of stuff. And they do a huge amount, absolutely huge amount. You know, in terms of like their part works, the part work side is small compared to the actual die-cast vehicle side is huge. It's really big. The amount of vehicles that they do as well is really good. But I did see that, but yeah, like I said, I'm steering clear now of vehicles at the minute. Nothing really I want that's coming out, and that's tickling me fancy. So yeah, I've you know, like I said, I've got to finish some of the builds that I'm building. You know, I would have liked to done the tumbler, but I think I might give that a miss, especially with other builds that are coming out and ones that are finishing and stuff like that. So yeah, but it does look nice. It's really nice, the Alpine, if you can get it. So I'm going to bring it to an end for obvious reasons. In about 10 minutes, there is a minute's silence for anyone here in the UK. So I'm going to go off now and wish you all a really happy Sunday. Obviously tomorrow, no videos, nothing tomorrow. And then we're back on Tuesday. Tuesday's the Alien build. Wednesday's the Disney Dollhouse. Thursday's the Dodge Charger. You know, we're back to normal again. But yeah, look, I'm going to go now. Have a lovely bank holiday as best you can with everything that's going on. I think the majority of us are going to be around a TV set at some point during the day or the whole day. I know for a fact I probably will. But yeah, so I'm going to go now. Good night, everyone, and thank you for coming along. We'll see you next week, and until then, keep it safe, and we'll see you in the next video. See you later.